Column Squadron take off. Link to Skykeeper.
Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm AvidGamer. Now this is Ace Combat 7 and today I thought I'd give you the first whole mission, full mission, the first mission basically of the campaign. So I'm just going to talk you through like my first impressions and a few things that I think the game could use, and yeah, that's about it basically. Now I'm just going to touch on the editing that I've done on this video. Now this video is only like, I don't know, it's going to be about 15 minutes long probably when I'm finished, and it took me about 3.5 hours to edit the video to this point before I've even thought about recording on it. And the reason that is because I've recorded the whole mission, and then once you finish the mission you get a replay of the mission from an external view. Now what I've done is I've recorded the replay as well, and I've interspliced the two of the videos together. So when you see this view from outside the cockpit, this is actually from a second video which I had to record as well, and then sort of like I've had to get it all in time and then splice it together. Now you might see a little bit of deja vu things. So I think in a second my wingman, he cuts across my view, and you'll see that I cut to the external view and then cut back to the cockpit view, and I'll do it just a couple of sort of frames just too early, just on purpose though, so you kind of get that deja vu effect. So you see him cut across to my left there from the external view, and then I show it to you in the cockpit. Does that make sense? Alright, so if you ever feel like you're seeing a little bit of deja vu, it's just because of the editing. I thought I'd try and make it cinematic and add something like sort of new, and just kind of push what I could do with this game, sort of like from the first video. And I don't know, I think it works. So let me know what you think in the comments. You know, does it work? You know, would you rather have seen it all in the whole, like from the cockpit view, or I don't know. Let me know. So another thing I just want to say quickly is I'm going to shout out another YouTuber. His name's Growling Sidewinder. Growling Sidewinder. I can't even talk. And he's the whole reason I picked up this game. He plays, is it DC World or DCS World or something? Digital Combat Simulator basically for the PC. And he does really amazing videos, and he does tactical breakdowns, and he's really good YouTuber. I find his videos really fascinating, and just been watching him play, like, you know, regularly, and I just felt like I wanted to fly some planes and pretend I was like in Top Gun and stuff like that. So I'm gonna link his channel down in the description or the comments below, so you know, after you watch this, you know, go check out his channel, drop him a little subscription, and yeah, just go from there. Now this is something I really liked. You see how the rain on the screen, like your engines and your windscreen can kind of ice over if you're in the clouds for too long, and or if you're at a real high altitude and things like that. And I've got to say, like, in the middle of a dogfight and when you're trying to chase someone, it does kind of feel quite tense if you're in that cockpit view. Really enjoy it. Alright, so I'm going to touch on just a couple of minor things that they're not things that I dislike per se. It's kind of subjective, and it's just little things that I think would improve my experience, you know. So I'm playing it on the hardest setting at the moment. Once you start the campaign, just a little tip here for anyone that's thinking about starting the campaign, or they go out and buy the game. Just pay attention to your difficulty settings, because once you select it you can't change it again, and I've put it on hard. I've done that on purpose because I like a challenge. Now this ties into some of the things that I'd like sort of to be patched in the future. Like I say, this is kind of subjective. Now when you're in the cockpit view, which is something that I really enjoy doing, the F-16's a really good, nice cockpit view, like sort of like, I don't know, do they call it the windshield or the windscreen? I'm not sure, but basically your windshield or your windscreen is nice and clear. You haven't got any sort of like metal braces coming over the top of your view, sort of obstructing it. So the F-16 is really nice to fly in this cockpit view. Like, you can see quite all around you quite clearly. Now, the thing that I'd like to be added is I'd like to call it the hardcore setting, basically. And this ties you to the cockpit view only, so you can't do third person. That's one of the options. You can go cockpit, sort of nose, like a nose view, and then you can do third person. And I just prefer the cockpit view. Now, what I'd like is in that hardcore mode is you'd only be limited to the cockpit view. And whilst you're in the cockpit view as well, you see your radar down in the left hand corner. I'd like to get rid of that from where it is and basically put it onto the instruments inside the cockpit. Kind of like what other simulator games do, especially the one that Sidewinder plays, the Digital Combat Simulator. I just think that bring a lot more sort of dynamic immersion to the game for me. You know, if I had to look my head down to the instruments in front of me to read my radar, and I had to rely more on visual sort of keys to spot the enemy, then I'd enjoy that a lot more, I think, you know. And I know why they've done it. It's very arcadey. You know, not to say it's bad, you know, it feels really nice when you're flying, it's really smooth, you know, but it is arcadey, and I'd like just a little bit more realism as well, you know. Things like if you lose sort of like sight of your target on your HUD, you get the little green triangle thing that pops up and sort of guides you towards them again. Yeah, that little thing there. So it kind of guides you like nearly to the way that you want to be flying. I'd like to be able to get rid of that as well, like in the options. If I could turn that off, I'd really enjoy that. And especially if you could put that into the multiplayer as well. Like, it just bring that extra dynamic, that extra little bit of skill to the game that I think is what I'm really looking for. You know, that's not to take anything away from the game on the multiplayer, because I've played the multiplayer and I have been really enjoying it. It has been good fun, and you know, that's what games are about at the end of the day. Well, for some people really enjoy the total realism and the simulation kind of stuff. To me, I like the perfect mix of both. You know, I like a fun game with really good skill gaps, skill levels, sort of like learning curves and things like that. You know, I like a bit of both worlds when it comes to that. Giggity. Now, the only other thing that I'd really like added as well that I can think of at the moment, all my videos are freestyle, by the way, pretty much, unless specified. You can pretty much tell, I think, by my tone of voice when I do the freestyle ones compared to the scripted. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, right, dead sticks. I'd like to be able just to tweak the sensitivity of my analog sticks on the PS4, or just add a little bit of dead zone to them. Just things when I'm rolling, like if I roll left or roll right, it's a bit of a tongue twister. I'd like it to be where I really have to push real hard on my left analog stick, you know. So if I want to brake right real quick, you know, I have to slam that stick right over like as hard as I can, kind of thing. Because at the moment, you touch it just a little tiny bit and you kind of roll like over 180 degrees, I guess. I'm not sure if that's what a real pilot would say, but you know, so if I roll to the right or to the left, as soon as I touch the analog stick, if I'm trying to go inverted, like for instance 180 degrees, so I'm upside down, I hope I'm explaining this right from a pilot's view, and you got to be real delicate with it, you know, really delicate. And yeah, I'll probably get more used to it the longer I play and things like that, but I really would just like to be able just to adjust the dead zone or the acceleration just a tiny little bit, you know. So if Namco are listening to this and, you know, they're thinking about doing a patch at some point in the future, if they could just keep them things in mind, you know, I'd really appreciate it, and I'm sure there'd be a lot of other players out there that would appreciate it as well, you know. So radar position, a hardcore cockpit view, dead zone on your sticks. Now, I'm not going to show any multiplayer in today's video. Like I say, this is just going to be like the first mission. And I'm going to do a multiplayer video, hopefully tomorrow or the day after. Who knows, if I get time, I might even upload it later tonight. And I'm going to save the majority of what I want to talk about, like with the multiplayer for that. But I'm just going to add the one thing I would like to see, and I will repeat it tomorrow as well. I would like to see a 1v1 sort of mode added to the PvP options, you know, so I could literally just make a lobby, it'd be 1v1, and someone can join it, and me and him can just get involved into a dogfight, you know. At the moment, you've got like a battle royale thing, which is like a free-for-all. That's real fun, you know. It's really good and enjoyable. Like I say, it's very arcadey, so don't expect it to be true to life, sort of like combat. But it is real fun, it's really enjoyable. And if you're interested in piloting and being a fighter pilot and stuff, then I would recommend this game. You know, like I say, it's a good stepping stone into the world of piloting, I guess. And you know, there's a lot of things you can take from it. And especially if you watch the YouTuber I mentioned earlier, Growling Sidewinder, you know, if you've got an interest in like actual air-to-air combat and things like that, then definitely go check out his channel. And like I say, this game is a good little stepping stone into that world, so I'd recommend it like for that sakes, and just if you enjoy piloting games and stuff in general. Now, I'm going to save the majority of the multiplayer stuff like for tomorrow's video or the video that's coming the day after. Whenever I do the video on the multiplayer section, I'm going to talk a bit more about game modes and maybe things like that, and kind of what to expect from the multiplayer and stuff. Like I say, it's a little bit different. I'll just touch on another couple of, I keep saying that I'm going to touch on things. See, like, I'm giving you the information early. Should be saving this for my video. But no, just in the multiplayer, you'll see things like a lot of afterburner use. You'll see a lot of high G turns and stuff like that. And that's why I say it's a lot more arcadey than a real simulator, because you won't be pulling high G turns like that in a real fighter jet. You know, you'll be knocking yourself out, like in your co-pilot if you've got one. Like, you know, you'll black out if you keep pulling high Gs like how it is. But anyway, I think I'm going to end my commentary here. So like I say, I'm going to do a multiplayer video in the next day or two. But so far, really enjoying Ace Combat 7. I'm finding it lots of fun, so I'd recommend it if you're looking for something a little bit different and you like having fun. If you're looking for something more serious combat wise and you've got a PC, then I'd definitely say go check out Growling Sidewinder. Again, I've got to practice saying his name. And yeah, so go check out his channel. And if you're into that real sort of combat aspect of piloting and stuff in video games and stuff like that. So anyway, I've been AvidGamer. Drop me a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't already, hit that bell button, because apparently it's really good. Like, for me, it's really, really good. So if you can hit that, that'd be awesome. I've been AvidGamer, and I'll see you soon.